Bonjour Good day. Thank you for joining me on this day in the year of our rulers, August the 19th, 2025. They say the path is narrow because it allows but one to walk it. Take the middle path, they say, or the path less traveled is the one for you. Well, in fact, the path is narrow because it allows but one to walk it. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. The body will follow. And when the path has been laid out for you, you must walk it. Had a discussion with a good friend of mine yesterday. Dear friend came over, first time, hadn't seen him in a long time. And he says to me, that is completely absurd what you are proposing. Completely absurd. It's been proven. Science, bro. Science. You can imagine what we were talking about. And I said, well, think of it like this. You've lived on the same street for 19 years. The beginning and the end. 19. If you recall, there was an event that occurred 2020 that had the number 19 associated with it. You've been living in this neighborhood for the last 19 years, and you've never once considered to go down that street. And so one day you decide to go down that street, and all of a sudden you realized that for the last 19 years you never once were even curious about what it is down that street. So when he asked me, how do you know, or this was last night, but many moons ago when I started sharing my observations with people, they would get upset, kind of the way my good friend did yesterday. It's science, bro, it's science. It's been proven. Well, actually, in point of fact, it's still considered a theory. And in point of fact, there are no actual photographs of said object we are talking about, said theoretical object we are discussing at the moment. So I'm not asking, I'm telling. It's not an argument, it's not a debate. And how I can say that today is because I went down that road. I did the work to know. And there is no substitute for experience. Zero, zilch, nada. Time equals experience. My other friend said to me, so do you feel that today you are that much more experienced after everything you've been through? To which my response was, absolutely. 100%. I did the work to know, and along that way, along that path, kind of like the path that I'm taking now, I'm doing this to illustrate the thought exercise. It winds in and out of other paths, and then you get to an intersection. I've often used this as an analogy for human encounters and interactions. Everybody's a stranger until they are not. Everybody starts off as a stranger. Where's the curve? I digress. So, our paths, we're on a timeline. Our lives have been set on a timeline, and it winds in and out and in and out. And along the way, we encounter other life paths that, for some reason or another, there are no coincidences, the paths cross. And in this particular case, they stay entangled for a little bit. And then the inevitability in some cases, chacun continue dans son chemin. And the path is narrow because it allows but one to walk it. So you do the work to know. Amidst this conversation last night, my other friend said, "You're starting to sound like a born-again Christian." Oh, check this out. This is always fun. Look at this. Clook. That's right. Just gonna do that. Don't get run over by the truck. So lovely how they close off main streets in Montreal. Obviously to take advantage of the fact that there's constant construction happening all the time. Gotta spend that money. The budget, end of the year, has to be used. See? Here you go. And then back to the idea of life paths intersecting. Boom. All of a sudden, here you are again, once again, intersected with somebody else's life path. That then you decide, okay, you know what? Let me follow it for a little bit. Let me take the path put forth before me for a little bit. brunch is very much a thing in Montreal. I'm not gonna videotape too much, but yeah, brunch is very much. look what we have. I didn't even see that. It's a Mario party. We'll let them move ahead a little bit. So 10 o'clock in the morning on this the day, and here we are doing a walkabout video with yours truly, established 1983. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. I will continue with my expoundments. Ever since I discovered this word, oh, here we go. Ever since I discovered this word to expound upon, I've used it profusely. Oh, I get squeezed in there, madame. We'll take a little break and I'll return after this short message from our sponsors. We're back. And so, here, let's see if I can do something about this. Give the city workers a moment to reverse and get out of where they are. That gentleman in the break addressed me and said, "Hey, why are you filming the city workers?" I said, "Oh, excusez-moi, monsieur. I was not intending to. I was actually just making a video of the promenade, and you happened to be in my shot, so I stopped the video." I said, "Oh, okay, thank you. This is the private lives of government city workers." Well, so in the past, I've understood that all the encounters we have along our path are there for a reason, and that nothing happens by chance. There is a reason why we experience the things we experience. One of the joys, I will say, of having been established in 1983 is that I have accumulated that much experience today to know better. You know, how old are you? People would ask. I say old enough to know better, young enough to do it again. And that's the thing, you're always young enough to do it again. Another friend I encountered by chance, quote unquote, yesterday tells me that he was doing really well. He was doing really bad. He went down a vicious spiral, gambling, drugs, etc. Someone I knew from my previous life, back when I was involved in the nightlife, back in the days of the Midnight Sparrow and such. I knew this gentleman, and I was happy to see that he had recovered, or was doing a lot better than at least the last time I had seen him. And I shared with him the concept of the 9-year cycle. Life is a perpetual cycle of 9 years. We are in the 9th year, which is why to you perhaps it seems that things are in turmoil and coming to an end. Well, in fact they are. We're coming to the end of a cycle. 2025. Bring it back to some numerology so it makes a little more sense. There are 9 numbers, 1 through 9. 20 is your 2. 25 is your 7. 7 and 2 is 9. Hence, we are in the 9th year of the cycle. And if your personal numbers happen to correspond with that, you take the month you were born and the day you were born, you compress the numbers, and that single digit number that you get is your personal life number. And if your personal life number is also a 9, well, then you are in sync with the natural order of things. And so it may seem like in my own existence that this is the last year of a 9-year cycle that, boy oh boy, was it a doozy. Yes, it was a doozy. I'm going to do this. Took the picture. She takes her shots of the sidewalk. Seems to be a lot more exciting than anything else. Maybe a little bit less. All right. And certainly there are mini cycles within the bigger cycle. There are annual cycles, and then there are monthly cycles, which we follow with the moon. And as there is a new moon soon approaching, soon arriving, this seemed like the perfect moment to speak on that. Said in a previous video, I addressed some individuals by saying, let it go. So as my mother used to always say, you point one finger that way, but your thumb always points at you. And in the words of MJ, R.I.P., allegedly, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Yes, of course, it's all about path correction, behavioral correction, acknowledging that there is a glitch in your matrix. You are, in fact, the main actor in your feature film. Makes me think of years ago, many moons ago in my youth, I went through a phase where I discovered the truth. I understood things. And one of the things I understood, one of the things I understood was the external world's place in my existence. And so one morning I get to CJEC, I get to college, and I say to the first person I see, buddy from the benches, Long live the benches. Learned a lot at the benches. I say to him, you know what your purpose is on this earth? Figured it out. Hey Jimmy, I figured it out. What'd you figure out, Rick? Established. Figured out the meaning of life. Oh yeah, what is it? Your purpose on this earth, which many moons later I discovered is an anagram for heart, because all compasses point to the center. Say to him, your purpose on this earth is for my entertainment. Jimmy looked at me and said, I'm not your monkey. And we both laughed. Of course, he didn't take it personally. It's more a metaphor. But in point of fact, it's very literal. The gentleman on his electric bicycle approaching slowly here is there for my entertainment. And why I chose to use the word entertainment ties back into the idea of the life path that begins somewhere and ends somewhere. We know this. There is a beginning and an end. We don't know where the end is, when it is. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for Godot. What does he look like? I don't know. When is he coming? I don't know. What are we doing? We're waiting for Godot. Right? And based on the fact, that factoid, we can therefore presume that, infer, is that the right word? That everything that is, was, or ever shall be has already been done, and we are simply following through on that path that has been set forth by the Divine One. Let's take a pause. All right. So, let me do that for a second. Courtesy of my new friend Sebastian. Saw somewhere that the number 7 was very significant. Would play a big significance in today's day. So perhaps that was 7 flicks of the lighter to get this flame going. No, we're not following the lady in pink. We are simply back on the path. I am on a little adventure to an unknown place that I've never been to, because today is the day. Now, as it turns out, every day is the day. Oh, so here, what do? You take the left path, or do you take the right path. Well, let's say I wanted to take the left path because I'm tired of going right and I want to take the left path. Well, when you don't take the right path, you realize it's the wrong path. So you go back to where you came from and you continue on the path that you had originally set out to go. Why? Why did that happen to me? Well, first of all, one must never victimize themselves, ever. Playing the victim never did anybody any good. So, first things first, don't victimize yourself, ever. If I can give any advice, which I don't do. But then think a little further beyond that and answer your own question. Why? Well, because you were meant to learn something from that experience. That is why. It happened because it was meant to happen in exactly the way that it happened, so that you could learn something and change your ways, correct the path that you were set out upon. You'd think you're in some European city with all the old architecture. And of course, everyone's favorite Starbucks. Let me get this frame going again. Years ago, I discovered that the reasons for the answer to that question, the why, comes much more rapidly and sooner once you are on the right path, so to speak, the proverbial right path. You know tout de suite after the fact why it happened. And at this point, when you reach this point, everything else comes rushing back, and the reasons, the explanations are finally clear to you, and you finally understand what it is you went through and for what reason, and how it shaped the person that you are today. Now, here I am left with a choice to make. Do I continue that way, or do I go into that shadowy building, also known as Metro Montréal? The original plan was to do that, but instead I shall continue. Walk towards the future. Oh, they surely are the future. Look at that. Get very freaked out when they see a camera whipped out and pointing in their direction. I had a staff member at the Rogers Cup videotape me because I was smoking on site. She said, "Sir, there's no smoking on site." I looked at her, took a puff of my cigarette and said, "Okay," and walked away. To which she continued to follow me and whip out her phone and call for backup. I said, "No, okay." I said, "Okay, no problem," and just smiled, finished my cigarette casually, and continued on with my spectating of the Rogers Cup. About 3 minutes later, there I was, accosted by security. Say, sir, we got reports that you were disrespectful to one of our staff." I said, "Disrespectful? Me? Never. Not a disrespectful type of guy. Don't disrespect people as if it's something to do." No. Well, sir, this is your first official warning. If we catch you smoking again, we're gonna have to escort you off the property. I said, "Okay, fair enough. But outside is okay. So what time do you finish your shift? We'll go smoke one outside the grounds." "Well, me, I'm not much of a smoker. I'm more of a drinker." "Ah, okay, fair enough." This place does very well. Sandwich légendaire. Even has a oh, it's so funny, it doesn't actually. I was gonna say it even has a veggie option, but the one thing that's blanked out is the veggie option. That's so funny. The golden rhino. Nice one. Yeah, they do well. Something about marinated flesh, cooked to perfection, that people really like. Would it be possible to share my life with an individual who was not of the same orientation as moi, as far as diet is concerned? As far as religion is concerned, well, I was saying yesterday, sure, why not? Why not? I'll marry a Muslim girl. I'll even convert. Why not? Picked out a name. If I were to do that, I even picked out a name. You wanna know the name? What my Islamic name would be if and or when I marry a nice Muslim girl? Ar-Rahman. Look that one out. Look that one up. AR-RAMMAAN. Ar-Rahman. So I'd even do that. Might get a few people's panties in a bunch, but I would do that. However, what I would not do, and I would make it very clear in a prenup kind of way, you know how in the movies people, when they get married, they sign a prenup. What's mine before is mine, and what we build together henceforth is ours, subject to legal implications, what have you. So in a prenup kind of way, convert, no problem. Change the name, no problem. Circumcision, no problem. It's like a... Anyways, that's a very touchy subject. However, I will not, cannot, and absolutely will never, if it were to be so, circumcise my son. If we were to have a child and they happen to be a man, a boy, a baby boy. Nope, cannot, will not, absolutely. And if this does not work for you, that's fine. Here's my path, here's your path, and salam alaikum to you, sister. But if that's okay, well, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, who will object to mutilating a newborn child? You know, I mean, anyone with a bit of just common sense and thought and empathy, it's a big word, empathy, would never.
Where are you?
Right here, right now.
What time's your lunch?
Right here, right now. Hey.
Were you dead the last 5 days? Wow, I called you 5 days. 5 days you're dead.
Look who it is. Look who it is. Hello, Sticky. You can go. Hello, Sticky. Sticky, this is a message for you, my man, if you ever see this video, okay? I know who you are, I can get your contact, but we'll let the universe deliver this. What is beauty now? Well, that's the age-old question. Stay beautiful. That's the advice. I like it. It's too bad. Anyways, so circumcision, nay, non-negotiable, which we could say is one of the elemental downfall, one of the elements that attributed to the downfall of past conexiones, we should say. I think there's a cell phone store here somewhere that I would like to pop into. Or is it closed? Article pour vapoter. Zone 514. I already have sunglasses. Yes, I'm going to pop into a cell phone spot and then continue a little bit after that. Okay? Okay. As I said before, I'm on the quest for truth on this, the day and the year of our rulers. And so the path feel the vibrations. Okay, I'm getting there. Closer and closer, I feel it. So we'll continue the journey. On my list of items to acquire was a selfie stick, or one of those stabilizer ones. So if and or when I get to one of two boroughs that kept its own autonomy, the other being Westmount. So we are technically not in Montreal anymore. We are in the town of Mont Royal, as in Royal with cheese. Hey, the 55. So this is where you start getting some more elaborate housings, many of which we will keep an eye out for a mezuzah here or there. See? 7 Zion. So I'm on a quest because I got a message this morning when I arose from my slumber in this apocalyptic day. Look at this piece of work. It's a nice, lovely property, is it not? Call it an attached townhouse in the town of Mont Royal. See the difference in both built at the same time, but these guys obviously updated their half, and these guys are still rocking the covered patio. Great idea, actually. So look at that beauty over there. Like I said, there are some very lovely houses here. So I arose from my slumber this morning and checked in with my Akashic alignments, and it sent me on a quest. Sent me on a quest to a part of town that I have never been to before, for something that was shown to me. And in this Akashic reading, there were messages of numbers and signs to follow, as it were, and all signs pointed towards this quest. So this is what I am on. Left foot, right foot, the body will follow. And this quest has brought me to the likes of TMR, with properties such as these scattered along, and properties such as these scattered along. Who would have thunk you would have received a nice tour of Mont Royal, in this case Mont Royal, TMR, town of Mont Royal. So simple, nice. I believe I'm supposed to take a left here, so I will come back to where I was once I gather my bearings a little bit more. Sounds like somebody's Range Rover isn't sounding so healthy. Little rattle. Oh, what a great. Well, perhaps I'll take a break right here. How appropriate. Ah. How appropriate. Okay, take a break, and I'll return in just a moment. Even the rock, even the pebbles are lovely. And as they say, you gotta put your feet in the ground. You gotta ground yourself. So let me ground myself a little bit. Ah. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Oh, that's nice. Okay. I'll be back. See? Here I am. Alright, so it all ties into what I started talking about at the beginning of this video, which was the path, the signs that have been put forth before your very eyes. If you have the eyes to see, you will see. Those with eyes to see will see. Those with ears to hear will hear, but only those with heart can get the true sense of it. So I'm on a mission, okay? Picked up a few objects along the way that were beset before me to see and assume into my custody. The purpose must be in the intent. All right, so this area looks familiar. I believe there were some underground poker games that took place in and around these parts. My friend came to pick me up at that parking lot over there. Back in the day when I used to do such things, I no longer gamble or partake in illicit, illegal, unlawful activities. But I digress. What is that? Hearing all kinds of sounds as we recently got connected. No idea. I'm going to be hearing sounds for the next little while, not knowing whatsoever what is going on. Decided to go back in technology and picked up a blackberry. What do you get when you eat a blackberry? Forget it. Bluetooth. Somebody thought it would be a good idea to go and spray paint the top of that building. Really terrible. Bad, bad, bad. Bad job, camo. Not cool at all. Hope they find you and break your fingers. Or at least make you... Wow, look at that. How horrible. BMSK 8 and Nova and Camo all thought it would be a great idea to... Oh, okay, maybe not so much. I digress. It's an abandoned building, so good for them. If this wasn't an abandoned building, I would say shame on you guys, but good for you for getting up there and tagging it. So, I am so close. Last I checked, it said about 12 minutes away. Let's see what kind of messages we can see down below. FCIU 294774. A lot of sevens in there. SLU 2000813. Hey, look at this guy. Look at this guy right here. SLEU, SLEU 200088. But I digress. Davar, that's where we're going. We're going to Davar. A-A-R. Da-V-R. Dun 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 dun. And the address we're looking for is 880 Davar. Dun 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 dun. And since I have never myself been on Rue Davar or Boulevard Davar, I am very excited in sharing this experience with you. Myself.
Continue on to
First and
Avenue Davar.
foremost. Huh. Do I have GPS? I have GPS. Continue now. Do we go this way? Do we go that way? Do we go this way? I say continue straight. Or no. Okay, I'm gonna get run over in traffic. Davar. Attention, battery critically low. So, I will stop it here and continue after.